We're working developing news out of the capital city where the jury has reached a verdict in the trial of a Pawtucket man charged with killing his 10-year-old daughter.
And the jury has been deliberating since yesterday in the case of Jorge DePina. Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado has been working this case all week. She joins us now live from Providence with the developing details. Steph?
Well, a jury has now convicted Jorge DePina of second-degree murder in the death of his daughter. They acquitted him of first-degree murder. He still can face up to life in prison, but without the first-degree murder conviction, the state cannot ask for life without the possibility of parole. Jorge DePina convicted by a jury of murdering his daughter Aleida in the second degree. Aleida died in 2013 of a perforated bowel caused by blunt force trauma. The jury deciding to acquit him of first-degree murder. DePina yelling to his family in Cape Verdean Creole as he was taken away to the ACI. His sister Joyce crying in the front row. A Pawtucket detective who speaks Creole says DePina called out, "I'll see you in 18 years. You see what they're doing to me?" A family member yelling back, "We're with you."
Certainly we are relieved that this jury did not find Jorge DePina guilty of first-degree murder. We are grateful that they saw through the evidence and determined that under no set of circumstances did Jorge DePina ever intend to kill his daughter.
The defense team had argued that while DePina did physically abuse his daughter, he didn't kill her. They thought the jury should have convicted him of manslaughter because he failed to get Aleida medical treatment before she died.
Second-degree murder, while I don't call it a victory, is certainly far better than first and the prospect of life without parole.
The prosecution declined to comment on the verdict. DePina will be sentenced in May. He faces between 10 years to life in prison. Now, there were many family members of Jorge DePina in the courtroom, all there to support him. I'll tell you what his father told me after the verdict, coming up new at 6. Now, Aleida's mother and that side of the family were not at the trial. They remain in Cape Verde, where the little girl was laid to rest. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Tony. Developing news now. The father of Jorge DePina had some strong words this afternoon after a jury found DePina guilty of killing his young daughter. However, the jury did not deliver the verdict prosecutors were pushing for.
Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado has been covering this trial from the very beginning. She joins us now live from the Providence mobile newsroom with the details.
Well, the jury determined that Jorge DePina did murder his daughter Aleida, but in the second degree, not the first. Jorge DePina yelling to his family members in Cape Verdean Creole as he was taken away to the ACI, now a convicted murderer. The jury determined he killed his daughter, 10-year-old Aleida, in 2013, convicting him of second-degree murder, but acquitting him of first-degree murder, which requires premeditation.
They had to determine whether or not Jorge DePina designed, premeditated, schemed, wanted this to happen. And we're grateful that they came back with a resounding no to that.
DePina's defense team had hoped for the lesser conviction of manslaughter, but the state was pushing for a first-degree murder conviction so they could ask for a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Now, DePina faces between 10 years to life in prison.
Second-degree murder, while I don't call it a victory, is certainly far better than first and the prospect of life without parole.
DePina's family was in court to support him. His father, Diamantino DePina, declined to be interviewed on camera, but told me shame on the state of Rhode Island. Aleida's mother and her family were not at the trial. They remain in Cape Verde, where the little girl was born and is now laid to rest. And the prosecutors declined to comment on the verdict. DePina will be sentenced in May. Live in Providence, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.